From the New York City area, welcome to the Badass Counseling Show, where the master badass himself, Sven Erlandson, takes you deep and gives balm for the soul, baby.
Yes. Here we are. You have reached us on the Badass Counseling Show. This is a lightning round question and answer session on the Badass Counseling Show. I'm Sven Erlandson, the Badass Counselor, online on social media. We have about 3 million followers globally, and you have found us, and you are joining us now, and it's great to have you here. I'm joined by my crew back in studio. I'm actually out of studio right now. I'm joined by my crew back in studio, KC running the operation in the booth, and Rob the Rocket at the control desk. Rob, what say ye?
Glad we got your remote. Always glad to have you one way or another, by hook or crook.
Well, it's great to have you here, my man, and there's no one else I would rather have running the show.
Thank you, my friend.
And also bringing deeper insights to the whole equation of all this stuff. Rob, we've got a lot of great questions. We've got folks joining us from Brisbane. We've got folks joining us from Beaumont, Texas, and Charlottesville, Virginia, and folks in from Seattle and all points across Canada. And we're just going to get going here with a lot of questions. First one out of the gate is from Nicole P. on TikTok. We are live right now, by the way, on TikTok, on Facebook, and on YouTube. People firing their questions right at us. Nicole P. says, how do I shift old pain from husband's alcoholism to a new outlook with his semi-sobriety? And the simple question is, Nicole, that if you're having trouble shifting from the old pain, that tells me the old pain is still there. And if there's old pain there and you're having difficulties shifting, you're asking how, that tells me the biggest issue that you're likely having is not just the hurt from the old pain from your husband's former sobriety. The real issue is trust. You don't trust him. He did so much damage during his alcoholism. He hurt you so much. Maybe he took advantage of you. Maybe he neglected you. Maybe he was outright hurtful with his words or with his actions, or maybe with his fists or with money or what have you. There's so much old pain, and you feel obligated to shift. Maybe you actually want to shift, or maybe you feel pressured to shift, and that you have to trust him and you have to have a new outlook. Hey, I'm semi-sober now, which I don't really know what that means. Maybe it means, hey, I can do this. I can be somewhat sober. I just want to be able to take a few drinks, and this is how I'm going to live my life. But I'm willing to bet that you don't believe that you can trust him. And maybe you want to trust him, but you're so afraid of being hurt again that you're keeping yourself locked down and keeping yourself shut down because you're afraid of getting hurt again. So what do you have to do to heal is your question. What you have to do to heal is you have to begin to go inside and flush out all of that pain. And how do you do that? Well, some very simple things you can do is you can get pen and paper, and you can write him a letter that you don't send. Start with one letter that you do not give to him, you do not send, you do not show to him. And for the first time, really be honest. I fucking hate you for everything you did to me. I'm so mad at you. You hurt me so much, and you hurt me in this way and that way, and I do love you, but God damn it, but start flushing out everything that you feel. Don't give it to him. That's where you start. It starts with the pain, because that old pain, you can't shift from the old pain. The mere fact that you say, how do I shift from old pain from my husband's alcoholism to a new outlook with his semi-sobriety, that tells me the pain is still in you. And until that pain is out of you, it's still in you. And it's driving everything. It's creating so much fear that you can't trust him, so much fear of him hurting you again. You begin by going in and in your journaling and in your writing him letters you don't send. And I strongly also recommend that you get the book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup. You can get it at my website, badasscounseling.com. And as Shane was just saying in the previous comment, it's a powerful tool. It'll help you accelerate that healing process. But until you get that pain out of you, any attempts to get closer to him will be fake, because you don't trust them, because all that pain is there and it's causing you fear. And you'll be forcing it either for him or because you think you should. All right, next question.
Hey, Sven, on YouTube, I think Julie needs your help here, if I may.
Go ahead. We got a question coming in from YouTube. Go ahead.
She says, I've read your book and it hasn't helped. I still wish I wasn't alive anymore.
Okay. And so, saying that you've read the book, my question would be, have you done the journaling exercise in the book? And then further, and this dealing with this particular issue, as most of you know, if you follow my show, or as many of you might know if you follow my show, that I too have been there. I've engaged in that particular action that she is referring to there. We don't use that particular word because social media doesn't like that word and they shut down lives when we talk about that. But what I would want to know is some things like one, what's the biggest thing you believe about yourself? Two, who taught it to you? Three, what is your biggest fear in life? See, these are some of the questions that there's still something deeper. It's Julie, right? Rob?
Yes.
Yeah. Julie, there are deeper issues that you have not touched yet. And I'm betting you don't want to touch. I'm also willing to bet there may be people you're protecting or you're afraid of looking at the real truth with regard to. There's still shit deeper. Is as someone, Julie, who has been where you are, different reasons probably, but I've been literally right there and I have done it. Okay. I guarantee you there is something deeper. And I know you think that engaging that action of ending it is sort of will save your life, so to speak. You know what I mean? There's life after it. And I'm living proof. I had to get myself out of a 12-year depression in which every day or almost every day I wanted to end it. That kind of depression. And I couldn't find any therapist who could move me through it. I had to figure it out my own way. And now, 30 years later, 25 years later, I can absolutely tell you that I know deep down, somewhere deep down inside of you, you want to live. You want to know how I know that? Because you're still alive. I'm not saying that parts of you don't want to. I'm saying deep down you do want to. And I'm saying there's pain down there and there are messages that you were taught about yourself that you're still protecting, that you still don't want to touch. And there are aspects of your past and of your life and of the messaging you were taught about yourself that are too scary, too ugly, too sacred for you to touch. And if we're in session, I would ask you, what might those be? And I would ask you to speculate. Rob, any feedback on that one?
Only that she says she has done journaling for years.
Yeah, no, there's something deeper. There's something deeper. There's always something deeper. And I just feed her this question, if you would, Rob. Ask her the question, if there were something deeper, what might it be? Or what is the one thing above all else you're most afraid to look at or touch or talk about? All right. In the meantime, I'm going to move forward and take another question, and then we'll come back to that. Snow Queen says, there's no real question here, but says, I applied for my dream job. Sad, and then a sad face. Dog walker at a pet center. It didn't go well. I went off with them. And no question there, but I just want you to know, Snow Queen, I'm sorry. That's sad. I think a lot of us have applied for a dream job and not gotten it. And I'll bet you'd make an amazing dog walker. In fact, I hire a dog walker. I love a great dog walker, someone who can do that for me a lot of times because I can't always do it. Oh my God, it's the best. And my dog walker is the best. The best. So good. And I have 3 dogs, 4 in summertime because my son's dog spends the summer with us. Keep trying, Snow Queen. Keep trying. If that is your passion, keep trying. You can do it. And I just want you to know I'm sorry you didn't get it. And that stinks. Journal out the sadness. Write a letter to them. Tell them how dumb they were by not hiring you because you're going to be the best dog walker someday. And they lost the best dog walker. I think you're going to be awesome. Rob, did we get a follow-up from Julie?
Just came in and she says, the first time I tried to do that act, I was 15. I'm 55 now. I would be dead now if my daughter found me. No, I really don't want to be alive. I promised my kids I wouldn't do it again.
Yeah, okay. So here we go. 15. So she was 15 the first time she tried to end it all. 15. That says how sad she was, how depressed she was, how much she was taught to believe by 15 that she didn't matter. But that she didn't wake up one day at 15. Julie, you didn't wake up one day at 15 and say, gee, I so completely suck that I want to end it all. No. That had been building for a long time. I fucking guarantee you. The desire to end it all isn't something that comes at 15 and stays a very long time, but it just came out of nowhere. Bullshit. That had been building for years. And so then that raises the question, who the fuck taught you that? Who taught you that you had such little worth, that you were so unwanted, so unlovable? Who the fuck taught you that? I'm serious. Have her fire back. I'm going to go on to another question. We'll come back to that one. Jack Ryko is basically echoing the same thing. Periodical, similar thoughts that hit for an hour and leave. Help get that away for real. It's going back in where I'm going, Jack Ryko, where I'm having this conversation over on YouTube. I got 3 social medias going. This conversation I'm having with Julie, you need to be having with yourself as well. We're trying to find origins of the message that caused you to even want to begin to have that thought in the first place. Because somewhere you got the message, either explicit or implicit, verbal or nonverbal, a look, somehow it got conveyed that you didn't have worth. And it wasn't just a one-off, it was repetitive, or it was one giant way, or from multiple sources, but you got the message. And I want to drill down, where did this message begin? And that's what journaling is for, by the way. And we began flushing out the feelings. And then, Rob, did we get a follow-up from Julie over there on YouTube?
Again, just came in. I was molested by my stepdad from the time I was 3 to 16.
Okay. And then the question that I would ask in addition to that, then, and I'm so sorry that happened. That's terrible. From 3 until what, Rob? 16?
16.
Right. And so then at 15, was the desire to end it all, was that to make it all stop? That the molestation stop? Or was it because something you believed about yourself? Or was it something else? Help us understand, please, Julie, if you would. And we'll come back to that, Rob. Here we go. Anna Marie on Facebook says, I tried to leave a toxic relationship, constant arguing and dismissive to my thoughts and feelings, and argues with my family. He was super nice about the breakup, then started crying, and I caved again. Oh, he got you. He got you. And first of all, Anna Marie, don't beat yourself up. We've all been in breakups before where we cave and we go back. I mean, you get down the road a bit in life and you realize, shit, I've gone back 4 times. Oh, remember that one gal I went back to 4 times, or that time? Because part of you, clearly, Anna Marie, you don't like the idea of hurting someone, right? And it was so toxic for you, the constant arguing, dismissive, and so on and so forth. And you asserted yourself, and you stood up and you said to him, finally, I have to walk away. I have to get the hell out of this. This is fucking killing me. And he was nice about it. And then he started crying because it hurt him, and you caved. So you don't like the idea of hurting him or making someone else feel bad. So you chose his feelings over your feelings. Am I correct? Exactly. And that's the problem from the beginning, that his constant arguing with your family and being dismissive of you and constant arguing, you chose his feelings over yours. The fear is that if I choose myself and stand up for myself in the relationship, you may not like me. So I'm going to let you decide what the agenda is. I'm going to let you make your feelings most important and what you want and how you feel the most important thing, and what I feel doesn't matter. And so here we are, even in the breakup, you're doing it again. And I'm not scolding you for it. There's nothing wrong with going back, or there's nothing wrong with, making someone else's feelings more important than yours. We've all done it. Don't feel bad. The point is, at some point you get sick of doing it and you realize it's killing you. And you realize, shit, I'm sick of this. And sometimes we have to go back a few times, or sometimes we have to repeat a pattern enough times before we finally get up the gumption, before we're finally so sick of the pattern that we break it. And that's where you're at right now, Anna Marie. In a way, this had to happen like this. You had to give in. Why? So that you could clearly see, wow, I'm choosing his feelings over mine. Wow, this really is the problem. And when you're ready, you will begin to take actions that are consistent with your new belief. And your new belief is, I matter. All right. Rob, feedback from Julie?
No more at this time. Yes, I'm sorry. She just wrote again. Here she says now, I was tired of living, and I still am. I met a man in 2014, and he left me in 2024. And now my cat that I had for 10 years just passed away. I'm so done.
No. And that all that's horrible. I'm not disputing any of that. I'm asking back when you were 15, was the reason you wanted to end it then, was it to make the molestation stop? Or was it because some message you had playing inside of you or that you were being taught about yourself? What was the reason you wanted to end it then? I'm not talking about now because it started then. And what's the reason all this stuff happening now is all bad, but it's not life-ending stuff. The reason you want to end it now is because all that other stuff was back there accumulating since you were 3 and 7 and 15. And it got so bad that at 15 you wanted to end it. And so what I'm wondering is, what was the reason though that you wanted to end it? What was going on inside of that 15-year-old? Because that's going to help us understand the origins of wanting to do it now at 55. Because all that crud is in that love cup. And until we get out all the original crud, that desire to end it now ain't going to go away. So I'm saying that's the origin. And you say you've done all the work and you've gone through my book and so on and so forth, then this should be pretty easy. But it could be that there's still stuff back there, and this is what I'm asserting. There's still stuff back there in that distant past that hasn't been touched yet. The really, really stuff. And I'm not talking about the sexual molestation. I'm talking about the messaging and who taught you that messaging in addition to the sexual molestation. I'm not disputing that at all, but I'm saying there's something in that and there's something else going on that hasn't been healed yet, because that's what's still here now. Because the things that are happening in your life now are big and they hurt. I'm not disputing that. But it's building on stuff that's been there a lot longer than that. All right. Next question.
But she says that was the start of it. My mom knew what was going on. My older sister and I slept with a knife under our pillow.
Your mom knew what was going on. And there's the messaging that I'm referring to.
Yeah.
The messaging from your mom, if she knew about it and allowed was it father or stepfather? I think it was stepfather, wasn't it, Rob?
Yes.
Yeah. And allowed your stepfather to molest you from ages 3 to 15. Then your mother knew. Julie, can I ask you a very personal question? I mean, this is obviously very personal already, but I want to ask you a very hard question. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to, Julie. But for you personally, and only you can answer this. Someone else who's gone through something similar can answer it for them. But only you can answer this for you. I can't answer it. Nobody can answer it for you. The question is this: for you personally, who committed the greater crime? Your stepfather molesting you for 12 years of your life, or your mother for knowing it was going on and allowing it to happen? I'm curious, and there's no right or wrong answer, and you don't even have to answer. If you don't want to answer it, please, with the utmost respect, hear me saying you don't have to answer, okay? I mean that. And while we're waiting for you to answer, I'm going to take another question. All right, Sturgis asked the question. We seem to be on this theme tonight. How do I find the deep issues that I don't know that have caused my depression or mental bad thoughts? First of all, I'd say read the book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup. That's what I wrote the book for, to help you identify what those core beliefs are, to take you down deep into it. And after you've done that, as I'm dealing with now with Julie over here on YouTube, I'm answering her questions. We sort of have a running conversation here. There's always something deeper. If you've done the work of the book, and some people go back through it 2 or 3 times, and each time they find something new, but there's always something deeper, that if you haven't experienced the healing, it's because there's something deep, you're not touching it. Either you're deliberately blocking yourself from, or it's just something you're not seeing yet, or something you're afraid to touch, or something that may be too scary to touch. All right.
Unsurprisingly, she did respond saying, my mom, she only let it go on was because she was money hungry.
Okay, so you've just told me that your mom knew that your stepdad was molesting you from ages 3 to 15, and your mom let it happen, and the only reason she did it was for the money, because presumably your stepfather provided the income. So she basically sold her daughter at age 3 and 5 and 7 and 9 and 11 and 13 and 15 and all the even numbered years in between. She sold you for money. Your mom conveyed to that alone, that's a crime. I think every single person listening to this show right now is in full agreement with me that well, I'll speak for myself. I hate your mom. Fact. And Katie asked one question, Julie. Katie wants to know if you're still talking to your mom, if she's still alive.
I have the answer from her just now.
Yeah, go ahead.
I went a few years without speaking to her, but I started speaking to her right before she passed in 2013.
I'd want to know why you started speaking to her. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not judging you, but I'd want to know why. What were you wanting from her? And I am willing to bet, gee, I don't know, an acknowledgement, an apology, a statement of I wronged you, that you are my dear sweet little girl and you matter, and I fucked up, and you don't even have to forgive me. I just want you to know that what I did was so heinously wrong. You are good and I was bad, and I'm so fucking sorry. A real apology, not a gee, will you forgive me? Please forgive me so that you'll give me more love now. Some bullshit apology like that. No.
All right, this I think would be a really but before we break, this is her last comment. I think she was still my mom, and I loved her.
No, and there's the problem. No, we're not. I'm going to tell you the real problem right after we come back from this short break.
You've heard Sven talk a lot about his book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup. And that's because Sven hears from his followers a lot about how much the book has helped them. If you're not sure how to handle the issues getting in the way of a better life, you're not alone. And you have a lot of choices. But thousands of readers will tell you that this is a great place to start, by yourself and at your own pace. So go to badasscounseling.com and order There's a Hole in My Love Cup, and you'll have Sven right there with you as you forge your best future. It's totally badass. So get started today.
This show provides soul counseling intended to entertain and inform and is not medical advice. Now, back to the badass.
We are back. We are back with another lightning round of the Badass Counseling Show. We are in an ongoing conversation here. As we're taking people's questions, we've sort of started a thread with Julie over on YouTube, who is 55 and is forever on the verge of ending it all. And it started the first time when she was 15. She had been sexually molested by her stepfather from ages 3 until 16. And we just discovered that her mother knew the entire time. And her mother, by Julie's reckoning, says, and my mother did it for the money. And I had asked her who, for her personally, in her opinion, who committed the worst crime. The man who committed these crimes of sexually molesting a child from ages 13 to 16, or the mother for allowing it. Allowing it, knowing it was happening and allowing it. And for Julie, she says it was my mother. And then another person wrote in and said, ask her, if you would, Sven, if she is still in contact with her mother. Now, Julie is 55, and it turns out Julie had said that her mother has recently passed away, but before her mother passed away, she had reached out to her. And I said, why? Why did you reach out to your mother? What were you still wanting? There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just curious what the reason was. And she said, because she's still my mom and I love her. Now, the truth is, yes, you were birthed by her, and you loving her, nothing wrong with that. I want to ask you folks a very simple question. And this is open up to everybody, not just you, Julie. I want to ask you a simple question. Have you ever been in a relationship? Maybe it's a relationship with your brother. Maybe it's a relationship with your lover, heck, your teenager. Maybe it's your boss. Ever been in any kind of relationship where you get in an argument and with somebody you really, really like? And maybe it's a heated argument. Maybe it's politics, or maybe it's an argument over you hurt my feelings or whatever. And maybe it's a really heated argument. And it's so heated that you're thinking, I just want to wring their neck, not literally, but where you hate them. You're just so mad, I hate you. Or maybe you have an ongoing argument with somebody, or, you've been in a relationship with a lover, let's say, and you grow to feelings of real anger, real resentment, real hate even. And yet you have mixed feelings. You still love them. I get people, when people are divorcing, To still love your person that you're divorcing is so common. People say, "How can I divorce? I still love him." I say that's normal. To still love the person you're divorcing is normal. So let me ask you this. Have you ever, and this is to all of you, have you ever experienced mixed feelings? Mixed feelings. Well, the mere fact that we have the phrase mixed feelings implies that, yeah, we've pretty much all experienced mixed feelings where you're sad and you're angry at the same time, or, because you didn't get the job and you're mad at them for not even reading your resume, and they didn't give it to you, you're sad and you're angry, or where you love someone and you're mad at them at the same time. Okay. Well, we have Julie here, and we're having an ongoing conversation with Julie, who wants to end her life, and she always has since she was basically 15, and she's 55 now. And as I told you, her stepfather molested her from ages 3 to 16. And, her mother knew about it and allowed it. And she said that recently before her mother passed away, she got in contact with her. And I said, why? And she said, because she's still my mom and I love her. And so my question is it possible to love a mother and hate a mother at the same time? Because, Julie, I would offer that the reason you have not healed yet from all of your past is because you are not allowing up the real feelings, the other feelings. I don't doubt that you love your mom. I'm not disputing that. Sure, okay, you love your mom. I'm wondering where the rest of the feelings are. Because I think pretty much every single person on this feed hates your mom. Granted, she's dead, but you allow your 3-year-old, your 5-year-old, your 7-year-old child to be sexually molested for money? I don't know. I think it's pretty clear. So isn't it odd that all of us hate her? I'm not saying she wasn't likable. I'm not saying you don't love her. I'm not trying to take your love away from you that you have for her. I'm just asking where the rest of the feelings are, because a very natural response to someone doing that would be anger towards that person, rage at that person, even hatred towards that person.
Sven, you'll be interested to know that Julie said, I forgave her.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't, Julie. You said the words, but everybody thinks that forgiving, you think you did. I don't doubt that you went through that whole process. But until you get the rage out of you, all the forgiveness in the world doesn't mean shit. As a former Lutheran pastor, I'm a former clergyman. One of the most maligned things in all of religion is the notion of forgiveness. That just forgiving someone makes my pain go away. It doesn't. It stuffs it down deeper. This is why I get people coming to me all the time saying, but I forgave the person. Why am I still mad? Because you didn't get the feelings out. I'm not saying you ever have to confront the living, breathing person. Your dad for, all those years, he never told you that he loved you or was proud of you. I'm not saying you have to confront your living, breathing mother for allowing you to be sexually molested, or your dead mother. I'm not saying any of that. You don't have to confront anybody. All I need you to do is go back into the vault and all the other feelings that are in there, get all of those out. Then decide whether or not you want to forgive them. Because just saying, oh, I forgive, I really do forgive, the feelings are still in there. All that hatred that you have, that any person would naturally have towards someone who allowed them to be raped again and again and again, all the natural hatred that all of us have, all of us in the peanut gallery have, you're turning on yourself. One of the definitions of depression is anger turned inward. And you're so depressed that you want to end your life. That's anger turned inward. That is depression. You're turning it on yourself because you refuse to allow for the possibility that deep down in that vault, you have this rage towards your mother. I guarantee you, that's what it is. And I have been where you are. I have the scars to prove it. And I've taken a lot of people through this exact thing. You can say you forgive, but it doesn't fucking matter. The feelings are still fucking in there. And that's what's causing you all this pain still at 55. Okay, I got to move on to a new question. All right. And if you got to follow up on that, Rob, I'm open to listening if you feel.
Well, she does say, I can forgive but never forget.
That's not it. That's a throwaway sentence. I'm not trying to be a dick here, Julie, but when people say, oh, I can forgive and not forget, that's nothing. That is a nothing sentence. It's not about forgetting. Yeah, I'm talking about the feelings, Julie. I'm talking about the feelings down deep inside. Let me ask you this, Julie. You said you have children who you love so much, and you're saying, I won't end it, and I'm doing it for them. Let me ask you this. If you were in a restaurant I'm just going to assume you have some mix of daughters and sons. You're in a restaurant with, let's say, one of your daughters, and somebody completely out of the blue comes up and wallops your daughter in the face and starts whining on your daughter. Would you jump on that person? Would you, in your being, feel a massive amount of rage toward this person? Yes or no? I want to hear the answer. We're not hearing an answer back, but I'm willing to bet that if you're in a restaurant and someone completely out of the blue comes up and slaps your 1-year-old baby extraordinarily hard, that you would pounce on that person and feel immense rage and anger inside of you. If someone came up and walloped your 33-year-old child right in front of you and kept doing it, you would pounce on that person and you would feel immense rage inside of you. You would not sit back and forgive them, would you? No, you would stop it. But what would be the feelings that you would feel? Would you or would you not feel rage towards that person? Yes or no? Would you want justice? Would you want to unleash on them and then have justice later, like in the courts? I think the answer would be yes. Of course you would. Why? Because rage, because hatred in that situation would be a natural response. That's just a natural human feeling. Feelings are the body's attempt to release energy. They are the body's natural response to stimuli. So if somebody does something to hurt someone you love, your natural response is anger, is sadness, is rage, right? And so if somebody does this to one of your children, your natural response is hatred and anger in that moment. Am I correct? And maybe for quite some time afterwards. But this person, your mother, did all these things to you for over a decade, and you're telling me there's no rage and there's no hatred? Bull. You don't want to touch it. Why? Because the hope is if I just love her enough, then I'll finally get love. Furthermore, it's easier to hate me than to hate my own mother. It's easier to be angry at myself than to be angry at my own mother, because you can't bear the thought that you haven't been loved from the beginning. It would be too painful to even look at, much less feel the thought that my own mother didn't love me.
She says she's answering, but I'm not seeing it.
Okay.
But I'm sure that's the answer.
Right. Well, somebody follows up. Jazz McKnight on TikTok says, how do you feel about pacifist or pacifism? I'm all for it. I don't like war. Who the hell wants war? But we're talking about in a situation. What did we learn? What did we learn in 1938 when Neville Chamberlain goes over to visit Hitler, before the Anschluss, or right after the Anschluss, and before he invades Poland and so forth? He goes over and secures from Hitler piece of paper on which Hitler says, I will never invade Poland, or I will never invade Great Britain. Neville Chamberlain gets off the plane when he lands back in England. He waves what is now known as the infamous piece of paper, because it was nothing more than a piece of paper. Before you knew it, Hitler was invading all of Europe, including England, right? What's the moral of the story when it comes to Neville Chamberlain and Hitler? You never appease a dictator. You never appease a bully, right? So in that situation, you're in a public place and someone comes up and wallops your child. Pacifism's out the window. You got a bully. You don't play appeasement now. You don't sit back and say, let's all be pacifists. No, you have to stop a situation from a victim getting hurt. Unwarranted hurt. I don't really think that's any grand revelation, right? But that's not even what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is feelings. What do you feel in that moment? It doesn't matter what your actions are regarding pacifism or not pacifism. The natural human response when someone hurts someone we love is anger. It's just a natural response. And so if you're not feeling that anger after the fact or at any point, you're stuffing it down. Every feeling you have is a natural response. None of them are inherently good or inherently bad. The only thing that's inherently bad is what you do with it, right? or morally bad. It's what you do with it. But it doesn't change the fact unless you get all those feelings out, like trains out of a station, you have to allow those trains into the station. You have to allow those feelings to come. Some people are taught they're not allowed to have feelings as kids. And until you allow those trains into the station and let the passengers off, we get some new passengers on, get the trains moving out of the station. It's not enough to just feel your feelings. You got to flush them out actively, journaling, writing letters you don't send, and some other tools I talk about in my book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup. And you have to willingly let the feelings up, bring them up out of the vault, allow yourself to feel all of the feelings, not just the pretty ones, not just the somewhat hard ones, the really ugly ones. You have to bring them all up and facilitate their exit. Julie, I will guarantee you, as a person who has been where you are, wanting to end it all, I guarantee you that what's going on right now, the reason you now, 40 years later, after you first wanted to end it all, what is still going on inside of you is all of what's unresolved from all of that is the rage, anger, the hatred at the person, not just who committed the acts, but the person who allowed it to happen for 13 years. I think you have so much rage and anger inside of you towards her, and all of that rage and anger, you were taught to turn against yourself. Your mother taught you that you were worthless, when in fact her mothering was worthless. She did not love you. There is nothing in the definition of, there's no definition of love that her actions fit under. She allowed you to be sexually molested. She knowingly allowed it so that she could get money from your stepdad. That there is no definition of love. That is not love. And I would like to hear from the Peanut Gallery.
Well, you can hear from Julie says she actually wrote her mom a 15-page letter and did not send it, as you would recommend.
Oh, that's a good start.
Yeah.
Was the rage in there? Was the hatred in there? Because 13 years of sexual molestation, there's so much fucking rage inside you, Julie. All right. For those of you, just for the record, for those of you who are looking for greater sort of a sense of community in healing your own stuff, we have two different communities. One, we have the Facebook. On Facebook, we have the Badass Counseling Group, which has about 47,000 members. And it's free and doesn't cost a thing. And it's people who are doing the work. Or who are doing the work, excuse me. And but then we have a much more intimate group that is capped in size, much, much smaller. And it's a fee-based group, and it ain't cheap, but you get so many things with it, including direct access to me every month, multiple times a month. We have free drawings for free counseling, etc. It's called Community Plus. We have DIY video courses, priority pass access to different counseling, and so forth. Community Plus, that's over on badasscounseling.com. I'm going to take just one or two more questions, and then we're going to call it a night here. All right. Tatiana asks questions. How do you move through those feelings or letting go? I wrote a book to walk you through the process. It's called There's a Hole in My Love Cup. But the bottom line is you don't even have to buy the fucking book. I've made 1,700 free videos. They're all on TikTok. They're all on Facebook too, but TikTok and Instagram are easiest because they're all thumbnails there, so you can just scroll through them much more quickly. But on TikTok, they're all indexed by topic if you want to go over there. Otherwise, there's a lot of them indexed on Facebook, but they're not all indexed by topic. Anyway, but the point is, start with those and start journaling, because those free videos, they're all 1,700 of them, they're all free. It's going to elicit different questions. Most of them have questions loaded in, and they deal with particular issues that you are probably wrestling with, have been wrestling with, or might be wrestling with soon. And it's going to elicit questions. Use those as journaling prompts, and you keep flushing that out. And the more you get into journaling, the more those feelings are going to come up. You just keep writing, keep writing, keep writing. And I teach other tools in my book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup, help you to drill down to those core beliefs you were taught about yourself. But until you're willing to get real and get raw, folks, into the really ugly feelings, into the really ugly truths, the scary ones, the ones you don't want to touch, you're not going to get the full fucking healing. All right. Michelle Fallon says, where can one find the groups? On your website? Yes, badasscounseling.com. You can find the intimate group, Community Plus, and that's for folks who have read the book, who are reading the book, who are much deeper and much more getting into it. And it's a very supportive, great community of support and growth group. It's called Community Plus at badasscounseling.com. All right, one more question. Well, we'll take this one as a side question. And Wait in the Boat asks the question, Sven, how do I stay focused in writing my 250 words to be considered for your podcast? Wait in the Boat, it's clearly listened before. If you are wanting to be on the show, we do two types of episodes on the show. We do these question and answer episodes, but we also do counseling episodes where I counsel people live on the show. And so if you want to be on the show to counsel with me, it's free. And my production team looks it over and they pick different ones to be on the show. You just have to send in a paragraph of 250 words or less to production@badasscounseling.com, to which Wait in the Boat is saying, but how do I tighten it to 250 words? Just do your best. Just do your best. Put what your main issues are that you're struggling with, or whatever the biggest thing is for you. Just put it in there. Do your best. Don't worry about grammar or punctuation. Just do your best. Trust me. Just let me do my job. All right. Just do your best. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. All right. Okay. This is going to be the last one of the night, folks. Jess says, how do I forgive my dad for my childhood when he's a great grandfather to your children? Okay. When I first read it, I read great grandfather, like great -grandfather, but you're not saying that. You mean terrific, when he's a terrific grandfather to your children. How do you forgive him? Well, let me ask you this first, Jess. Can I ask you this question? Jess is asking, how do you forgive your dad for your childhood when he's a terrific grandfather to your children? Do you want? Okay. Can I ask you to just wait on the forgiveness question? This is exactly what I was talking with Julie about over on YouTube. Can I ask you to just hold off on forgiveness? Okay. Just wait. I'm not saying you can or can't, should or shouldn't forgive your dad. I'm going to talk about that. I'm just asking if you can wait a little bit. Okay. And I'm going to assume that you can. Okay. So that being said, what you have to be able to do first before you're ready to forgive is you have to bring up all the feelings out of the vault of how you really feel towards your father. Because if you're feeling the need to forgive, that means he did some bad things or some things that hurt you, wounded you, made you sad, made you angry, hurt your feelings, dismissed you, neglected you, hit you, whatever he did over those years. There's pain in there, such that you feel the need to forgive him. Okay. Well, you got to get all that out first. For just forgiving him, as I just said to Julie, isn't going to make that pain go away. You're hoping it will, but that's not how it works. Saying I forgive isn't some magic formula that makes all those feelings go away. Do you want to know what it does? It packs them down deeper, which is why I get people coming to me 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years later saying, but I forgave my parent. How come I still have these feelings of resentment? Because the forgiveness doesn't matter. It's not the point. You can still forgive later, but it doesn't make the feelings go away. You have to get all those up. You have to welcome those trains. You have to stop blocking them. You have to welcome those trains into the station, let the passengers off the train, let the new passengers on the train, and get the train out of the fucking station. That's what journaling is for, but you have to welcome those feelings up. But you don't want to because it's too painful to think about it. It would be too overwhelming. It's too sad. It's too scary. It's too ugly. Too big. But you have to. Otherwise, the feelings won't go away. Okay. And until all that pain and rage and hatred and anger and sadness and frustration and betrayal, and feeling neglected and unwanted and abandoned and lonely, until all those feelings are up and out of you, they're still in you and you're carrying it around with you. And all that anger and hatred as well, which is there, it's a normal response. As long as you're carrying it around with you, you're a hater. People say, oh, I don't want to get that hatred. I'm not a hater. No, you're a hater if you're carrying it around. It's already in you. It's a natural response that you never allowed yourself to get out of you. A feeling is something trying to get out of you. And if you don't let it out of you, it's still in of you. Okay? But what else, Jess? So in other words, before you can forgive, you got to start that, which is what the book is for. There's a Hole in My Love Cup, which you can get at badasscounseling.com. There's an audiobook, an ebook, paperback. There's a workbook that goes with the book. You can't just do the workbook by itself. All right, but Jess, here's the thing. How do I forgive my dad for my childhood when he's a terrific grandfather to your children? The real question I want to ask you is this, though, Jess. This is the $64,000 question. Apart from the fact you got to get those feelings out, or that forgiveness doesn't mean shit. The real question for this is, though, Jess, is he seeking forgiveness? Has he apologized for what he did? Has he acknowledged the pain he caused you? Now, the truth is, I'm willing to bet my left testicle if Vegas were giving me odds. You wouldn't be struggling with how to forgive if he had actually given a true acknowledgement of the crimes he committed against you and given a real apology. And I don't mean a 50-cent apology to a $500 crime. I don't mean, oh, gee, yeah, boy, I'm sorry I did all that shit, but let's move forward now. Now, where are my grandkids? No. The mere fact that you're fucking struggling with forgiveness says to me he never fucking apologized, or if he did, it was a bullshit apology and it didn't feel real. Hey, there's that thing called the law of proportionate response, right? Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, right? There no longer is there disproportionate punishment for a particular crime. Well, there's also the law of proportionate response when it comes to apologies. Was the apology, if he apologized, was it proportionate to the crimes he committed against you, the pain that he caused you? Because if it wasn't, then that a person's apology feels lacking. Have any of you guys ever had that? Somebody apologizes and you're like, something's missing. Like really something big. Like that was the most lame ass fucking apology. And I don't just mean the apology of, I'm sorry you feel that way. The non-apology. No, I mean the kind where it almost seems like an apology, but it isn't. Where they're not getting how they made you feel. Maybe they're sad that they're not getting more access to the grandkids, or they're not getting what they want, or gee, I really feel bad that I did. They're saying the words, but you just don't feel it. Like they get what they made you feel. See, that's what I'm wondering if it's going on here. Jess. And Jess says, no, not at all. He doesn't recognize what he did. And that's the problem. See, now I'm even more angry at your dad, not just for what he did back then, but because he doesn't recognize it. No, it's not that he doesn't recognize it, Jess, you're wrong. He doesn't want to recognize it. Because if he were treated the same way, he'd recognize it just like this. If someone were doing to his grandkids, your kids, what he did to you, he'd recognize it right away. Now, he knows. It's not that he doesn't recognize it. He doesn't want to acknowledge it. You're not important enough for him to acknowledge it. And that's the ugly, brutal fucking truth. And the reason you can't forgive him is because he is not acknowledging the pain that he caused you. You're not important enough. His non-acknowledgement and non-sincere apology is him saying you're not important enough for him to do it. He would rather protect himself from having to humble himself. He would rather protect himself and come off as, hey, nothing wrong here. Nothing to see here, folks. Keep moving. I didn't do anything wrong. He'd rather protect himself than heal you. He is fundamentally conveying to his daughter, I'm more important than you are. You don't matter. And you just said, if I bring it up, they say it never happened. And there you go, Jess. There's your answer. Why are you trying to forgive someone who doesn't believe they did anything wrong? Because you have so much fucking rage inside of you, whether you acknowledge it or not, you have so much fucking rage inside of you, not to mention hurt and sadness. The underlying message that they sent you back then and they continue to send to you is your truth doesn't matter. Your voice inside is wrong. You can't trust your own voice. You have no idea what you're talking about. You don't matter. And you're crazy and your reality is not real. You're wanting confirmation of your existence, and they're saying, no, it doesn't exist that way. They are protecting themselves at your expense, and what you are fundamentally having to face is that's not love. If I hurt someone I love, if I hurt one of my kids are 34 and 30. If I hurt one of my kids or their wives, or if I hurt my girlfriend, or if I hurt my neighbor, what's the decent thing to do? I go and I say, I'm fucking sorry I hurt you. That was wrong. I'm very sorry. There's no excuse for that. And it must have really hurt when I did this part. And I can see how that might have made you feel this, or it did make you feel this. And that sucks. And I'm so sorry. And there's no excuse. Okay, that's what you do. That's an apology, and that's real. Okay? And I expect that from people in return. And I distance myself from people who don't do that in return. Why? because I insist on being treated with respect, and your father isn't doing that. And yet, here's the problem, Jeff. You're keeping him in your life. And I'm not saying you shouldn't. It's your life. You do what you want. But you're keeping someone in your life who doesn't acknowledge your worth or your value and who is treating you in a way that is not loving. And by simply denying your reality, by simply saying, you're not important enough for me to acknowledge what I did to you. Go fuck yourself. That's what he's saying. And what's interesting, Jess, is you said, if I bring it up, the past, here's Jess's sentence. If I bring it up, they say it never happened. You went from he to they. So now it sounds like dad and mom are denying it. So mom's covering dad's ass. Sure sounds that way. You didn't say he, you said they. So who's committing the greater crime there, dad or mom for covering dad's ass when she fucking well knows better? I guarantee you, Jess, you've got so much fucking rage inside of you and it has to come out. And I don't need you to confront the living, breathing person that is dad or the living, breathing person that is mom. I just need you to get all the fucking trains coming into the station, get the people out and get those trains moving out of the station. Begin to unleash it. Furthermore, you have to go down deep inside and begin to identify and pull out those messages that got pressed into the wet cement of your soul saying, you don't fucking matter. Your reality doesn't matter. You're not important enough. We don't love you enough. You're not worth it enough for us to apologize and own the pain that we caused you. Because right now they're living as though they would much rather protect themselves than protect you. They don't care, Jess. And yet you are still allowing them near your kids. Now it's great that they're treating your kids well. But what does that mean? They're just skipping right over you. We don't give a shit about you. We just want your kids. Do you really think it's about your kids? Or do you really think it's about what they get out of it? Makes them feel like good grandparents. And the whole family myth continues. See how good of parents we are. See how great at grandparents we are. Look at our grandparents. I'm going to put up pictures on Facebook. Here's me with my grandparents or with my grandkids. It's still all about them. They are terrified of you, Jess. They are terrified of you because you possess the truth, and that's why they have to use all of their power to suppress you. You have all the power. Remember, the family myth exists to protect the person at the top of the food chain. You have all the power. You have the power to blow up the family myth, and I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying that's why they're terrified of you. That's why they have to shut down your truth, because they are terrified of what you know. They are terrified of you. And they're going to continue to shut you down ad infinitum. Why? Why would they allow you to speak a truth that jeopardizes their belief system, that everyone believes that they're good parents and wonderful grandparents, and you are facilitating that, and you can continue to do it. It's your life. But wow, what an utter negation of you. At the very least, Jess, you got to get all that feelings out. Just like Julie, that I was talking with earlier, you guys have to begin to bring it up and get out. Get those trains moving out of the station. The hatred, the rage, the anger, the sense of betrayal, the sense of loneliness, all of that. Because until you do that, your soul is not going to heal. All right. The book is There's a Hole in My Love Cup. Also, my follow-up book to that is Badass Wisdom. Both of them can be found at, I have other books, but that's all from my old life as a clergyman. So There's a Hole in My Love Cup and Badass Wisdom. They're available as audiobook, but not on Audible. I took them off of Audible because Audible rapes authors. They are available as audiobook and ebook and paperback. And it's a workbook that goes with at badasscounseling.com. They are available in German, French, Spanish, and Swedish is coming out shortly at badasscounseling.com. If you would like to be a guest on a counseling episode of the Badass Counseling Show, write into production at badasscounseling.com. One paragraph, 250 words or less. Production at badasscounseling.com to be considered by the production team to be on the show to counsel with me. I encourage you to check out Community Plus, our fee-based membership community over on badasscounseling.com for people who are very serious about their support, their healing and their growth, and finally healing and coming alive. All sorts of opportunities there. Rob, any final thoughts today, my man?
Well, Julie, our friend who's been in so much pain and has been journaling for 25 years, I hope that she finds some peace, and I hope that she's gotten a little bit of encouragement this evening. I really do.
I do too, and all the journaling is fantastic, but in the end, until you go down into the real stuff that you're not touching, there's still more healing to do. And that's where the greatest healing is going to be, is in the stuff you least want to touch. And as my favorite author, Joseph Campbell, always said, the cave you most fear to enter holds the treasure you seek.
Yeah. Yeah. I know how hard that is to reach into that ugly stuff.
That's just it. The stuff you really don't want to touch, that's where the real gold is. He also said, where you stumble, there's your treasure. And so it's the very thing that you least want to touch. That's where the greatest sense of release and profound new life is going to come from. Okay, folks. This has been a great episode of the Badass Counseling Show Lightning Round. Whether you have been tuning in from Vancouver, British Columbia, or from Philadelphia, PA, or down in Miami, Florida, or we learned tonight there was in Miami, Arizona, or even University of Miami in Oxford, Ohio. It's great to have you here, and all points around the world. Wonderful to have you here. Thank you so much. Have a kick-ass day.
The Badass Counseling Show is strictly copyrighted. No copies may be made without the express written consent of the Badass Counseling Show, LLC. The Badass Counseling Show is produced by Karen Camparelli and Robert H. Friedman. Executive producer Sven Erlandson. Original music by two-time Emmy Award-winning composer Trevor Morris. Have a kick-ass day.